The Note 7s are exploding left and right. Is it time to abandon ship, Samsung? What's going on, LPX community? As you may have heard in the recent press releases, Note 7s are exploding left and right all over the world. And apparently now Samsung is recalling all the devices. So it seems like the Note 7's a failure, right? Calm down, folks. It's not the end of the world for Samsung. And no, by all means, I'm not going to sit here and say that they were in the right. But at the same time, you need to understand these phones are being mass produced. Out of 1 million phones sold, 35 apparently exploded. And if you guys want to go look online, you can see what the problem was. But at the end of the day, it seems like Samsung has come forward. They admitted the issues, and they're actually doing an awesome recall. Because if you guys know in the past, other companies have done recalls before too, and Apple's not the exception. They have done several recalls on a lot of the devices, everything from chargers to the phones to the laptops, etc., etc. They're not the first ones to do it. But thankfully, when I looked online, I'm reading what Samsung is doing for its customers. I think it's actually really legit. Because I remember when my 4 got recalled way back when, I actually had to pay another $50 to get a replacement phone. That was my situation. I was with Verizon at the time, but that was the situation. But it looks like Samsung is actually replacing all the Note 7s for free. So you can actually start, I believe, this week and actually, or next week, I think they said. But you can go up to your respective retailer or distributor, and they will go ahead and replace the phone for you at no charge. At the same time, Samsung is working with its carriers to actually give kickbacks to its customers. So I read that a couple of them are, a couple of the carriers are working with Samsung to give you back like $20 or $25 in your, in credit towards your bill. And I think that's awesome of them, because they obviously made a mistake, they're owning up to it, and they're addressing the issue. Hats off to them, claps off on them, but obviously that doesn't, save them from the fact that they had phones that exploded. And that had to do with, apparently there was a manufacturing error in the device between where the batteries, in the contacts were. There's more details about it online. I won't bore you with the details about it here, but apparently during one of the suppliers, and you got to understand, folks, it's not Samsung that makes them. They contract their devices out to these manufacturers in China and around the world to go ahead and mass produce it for them. And if you guys know in the past, and especially us tech users, you're gonna get faulty ones. Period. No matter what you buy. Like even iPhone has faulty products. Like out of the millions upon millions that they will produce, not all of them will be perfect. Not all of them will get through the standard quality and checks and stuff, and you're going to have to end up returning certain products. That goes with TVs and everything else. Samsung's not the only one that's had issues, but at the same time, this may have arisen because 35 out of 1 million, that's currently the case right now, and it could be more, but 35 is relatively a high number in my mind. Because I remember even Apple having recalls, they had issues with maybe like 100 cases out of like 50 million phones. That's a different number and stuff too. And I attribute this to Samsung starting to focus on their profit margins as well. And oh my God, blasphemy. Everyone says I'm an Android fanboy, Samsung fanboy. I am not. I'm trying to talk to you guys as a neutral party piece. That's why I've been the entire time. A lot of those Apple fanboys, and if you guys actually just watched my recent video on me ranting about Apple's recent press conference, it's not that I hate them, folks. I try to take a perspective, not a consumer, but as a tech enthusiast. So I try to look at these companies. I do my best to try to hold them accountable. And a lot of people misinterpret that as being raging and ranting, but that's not what it is. And it's the same thing here with Samsung. Lately, the company has started to show signs of stagnation, complacency. And it's not that their phones are bad. It's the same thing with Apple. Their phones, none of these companies' phones are horrible by all means, but the companies are start to show signs that they're more focused on profits than innovation. Samsung hasn't quite gotten that far yet, but they're starting to show signs that they're starting to become like the same mentality as Apple. That's for another topic, another conversation in the future. But I believe that with the Note 7, they wanted to rush it out. So they found a manufacturer that can get it done for them as soon as possible. They rushed it to the line. And they may have skipped a couple of steps that led to this issue. That's fault on both Samsung and the manufacturer. At the same time, I mainly hold it up to Samsung. Because it's their responsibility to make sure that the manufacturers that they're working with are delivering a certain level of quality and finish to their products. And I feel like somewhere along the line in the chain of command, someone got a little lazy. But hopefully the company starts to take note of this and actually start making noticeable strides to ensure that this won't happen again. And they've done so with the recall. I mean, that's the first step. But the next step is to address the chain of command problems. Make sure that, yes, obviously cost savings and profit margins are really important, but it's worth spending the extra money to make sure that you don't have to do a massive recall like this one. Because if you sold 1 million phones, and you made a certain amount of profit off those 1 million phones, but you have to replace said 1 million phones, there goes your profits. You can't have those kind of mistakes. Doing optional recalls. So you're like, hey, this could happen, so you should, if you want to, you may do a free, a replacement. That's different from, please bring back all your devices because we made a mistake. I think that Samsung should, it's a nice wake-up call for them because they've had a couple of recalls in the past, but this is a really serious one for them. And I feel like they need to wake up, because if you just focus on, solely on profits and not delivering a quality product, because they have. I mean, the recent line of phones from the S7, S7 Edge, and even the Note 7, aside from the battery problem, it is a solid phone. There's a lot of awesome functionality that they added to the device I'm really happy with. But this little issue, it irks me a little bit. It hits me, it strikes a nerve with me. So if anyone from Samsung is watching this video, yes, you're going to lose a lot of customers from this, and it's going to hurt, and someone's going to get fired or disciplined along your chain of command. But take this as a reminder not to rush, not to cut costs. I mean, yeah, I know you need to save money and, get profit margins, but you can't just keep cutting costs left and right in order to get the most profits out of your devices. Yes, I know you have shareholders that you have to fight for, but at the same time, we as consumers are the ones that are going to be ultimately your profit-making, source of revenue. And as far as all the Apple fans, as well as the Android fanboys and girls that are going to go left and right. They're either going to hate Samsung, or they're really going to just be like, you see, Apple's not so bad because Samsung is absolutely terrible. Everyone's going to jump on attacking them. That's fine. Everyone's okay. Everyone has their right to their own opinion on these companies. But at the same time, like Samsung, you need to understand that there are still going to be people loyal to you. You have now created a loyal following like Apple has in the past, decade and a half. You have now been known for a company offering good value for your phones and offering more functionality and dexterity with each and every rendition, and people are starting to follow you now. But if you become complacent, if you start focusing on cost savings and stuff like that, and you start having issues like this, you're going to lose those very people that you have gained. Same thing happened with me with Apple 4 years ago, after the 4S came out. Like, they had me as a loyal customer for over 10 years, ever since the first iPod, and then they started making these weird decisions. They were cutting corners here and there, charging for things left and right, and they just lost me as a customer. I hope it doesn't happen to you guys. And the same thing goes with the other companies, LG, HTC, Huawei, Motorola, even the Google Nexus phones and stuff like that. Everyone's starting to step up their game. You're at the point now where if you get lazy, you're going to let these other people surpass you. As a consumer and as a tech enthusiast, I want to see competition. I want to see the other companies going at it. I want to see you guys go, toe to toe and continue to improve your devices. But at the same time, remember to keep us in mind and not to, make these kind of mistakes again. And lastly, a lot of you may be asking if whether or not I will actually get the Note 7. And that is still yet to be determined. I still am rocking the Note 4 from 2 years ago, and I'm shopping around right now. I'm saying this very clearly. I am not a Samsung fanboy. Yes, I have purchased a lot of Samsung products in the past, but that's because I found their products to be superior than the current ones out there. I chose the Gear S over the other smartwatches because of what it offered and the design and a whole bunch of other things. And the same thing was for the Note 4 and some of the tablets that I chose. It just, it was the best bang for the buck. I love the design of it. I love the feel of it. But this time around, I'm actually having a real tough time deciding on what phablet to go with. As much as I love the Note 7 and the edge-to-edge screen, there are some other functionalities like the OnePlus Touch and the HTCs. They're the most recent renditions. The screens are absolutely beautiful. The design is awesome. The customization of the products are awesome. I like the fact that some of these other phones offer less for more. What I mean by less is less proprietary software. It's a much more raw interface that I'm able to kind of, work my own magic into. I'm having trouble deciding. I am not set on the Note 7 or the new Nexus phone. I am not set on any of these devices. I will be shopping around. In these series of videos that you're going to see in the next few weeks is me talking about each and every device, what I like about them, what I don't like about them, and ultimately you're going to see what I decide upon. Who knows? I actually might end up with the iPhone 7. I know, right? Sounds crazy. It sounds blasphemy. For those of you who just watched my other video, once again, that's crazy. You think I might go with the iPhone 7, but who knows? I'm going to shop around and I'm going to look at all these devices and see what they have to offer me, and we'll go with it from there. Because yes, the iPhone 7 might not be the most innovative product, and it doesn't have any battery problems like the Note 7 does, but there might be a lack of functionality that I might be looking for in another device. Because yes, the iPhone 7 might not be the most innovative product, and it doesn't have any battery problems like the Note 7 does, but there might be a lack of functionality that I might be looking for in another device. So we'll see from there. So if you're interested in seeing those kind of videos, please let me know by leaving a thumbs up down below, as well as subscribing to my channel. By subscribing, not only do you support this channel, but you're also, you'll keep in touch with what videos I release with, and also keep up to date with me here. So thank you for stopping by, guys. I really appreciate your time if you watched to this part of the video. If you guys have any comments, questions, or feedback, please feel free to leave in the comment section down below. Lately, I've been doing my best to get back to you guys and actually respond, so I may be able to actually, hit you guys back up on the comment section. So thank you for watching.